Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by very early on a Saturday morning. Last night was our Orchid Society meeting, and it was the actual AGM, so lots of voting nonsense and things like that, followed by the plant auction. Before you ask, I didn't buy anything. There were some nice plants at ridiculously low prices. I feel sorry for people when they put nice plants in like that and just get a few pounds for them, but that's how the auctions go. But what was special last night is our president, who passed away recently, Keith Andrew, he got many RHS awards for his crosses at his own nursery over the years. And if you get an award by the RHS, one of their botanical artists does a painting of your plant. So it's exact colours, exact size, a complete, botanical representation of your plant, normally with the artist's signature and the date and the award, name of the plant, that sort of thing, on the piece of artwork. You are allowed, if you pay, to get a copy. So a second original is actually produced, and that's it. There are only ever either one or two of those paintings for that award, and that's all that it'll exist. Anything else would have to be some sort of reproduction. And many of Keith Andrews' actual RHS paintings were up for auction last night, some of which were fetched really good prices. They're unique, and although it's not your plant that actually got the award, it's a memory of somebody who started the Orchid Society. The Orchid Society wouldn't exist unless Keith Andrew had actually started it 60 years ago. We've just had our 60th anniversary show. It's all in the name, So that was a bit unusual to have an auction of actual RHS original paintings. That was good. So something a bit unusual. I filmed the plants that were on display in the competition tables. I'll do that separately. I took along my Dendrobium friedericksianum, and yay, we got a first. But that's one thing, to get the first is very nice, but it actually got a first with 36 points. That's 36 out of 40. You can do the percentage yourself. That's a high number of points. And like back at Christmas, if you get a first with 36 points or more, you get one of these special ones. And these are special because, they've got your name on, the name of the plant, signed by the chairman, and the date. So these are very nice certificates to get. So at the next meeting, I'll have another one of these for Dendrobium friedericksianum. And that'll be the third one of those I've got at that Orchid Society. They're not that easy to get hold of. 36 plus points out of 40 is pretty good going. Several people came up and said during the break, was I planning on trying to get out the door with this? Try and stop me. Only joking, but a lot of the judges came up and said they hadn't seen a better blooming version of that plant. So that now goes in the judges' memories of what this plant can look like. That's how the judges work. As they come across plants and they analyse them, new growths, quality of leaves, size of canes, quality of blooming, number of blooms, all that sort of thing is part of the judging principle. Obviously, they can only go by what they've seen before. And then they update their mental record if they see something better, and then that becomes the standard, And, several came up and said they hadn't seen this particular dendrobium with that many blooms on such a good plant. I tried to explain that this plant is actually contrived. I had YouTube in mind and, explaining some of the ways dendrobiums grew with this plant. So when it grew these canes 2 years ago, they just did their thing. But moving on, when the next lot of growth started, which is this lot, I moved the plant to adjust its aspect to the main light source so that that year's growths came out to the side so they don't get in the way of the blooms. Yeah, and also it allows me to explain 2-year-old canes, 1-year-old canes, and then the new growths come out the top. And the idea this year will be I'll do the same thing. These new growths up here will be allowed to come down this side of the plant, leaving those exposed when they bloom this time next year. So all the blooms will be at the front of the plant. So I said it was contrived. I'd moved it to, adjust the way the light hits the plant to guide the new growths in a certain direction. So as soon as this is finished blooming, I'll be doing the same thing with these new growths up here. I'll twist it on its hook so that these new growths come out slightly to the side and end up filling up this space here. Because once these blooms have gone, there may be an odd bloom on those canes, but they'll start to drop their leaves through this year. By the end of this year, they'll probably have very few leaves left, so they won't be very elegant. So to grow the new leaves down over the top of them will make the plant look nicer. So it is actually planned, it's not luck. There is some judgment going on there. Doesn't always work. Certainly didn't work with Hercoglossum. The canes went all over the flipping place. But on the chunkier canes, like on this one, you can sort of plan which way they head by, pointing them in the direction of your main light source. If you've got light coming in from all round, it isn't going to work. But, my main light comes in from two sides. So by pointing it at the corner of those two sides, it guides the new growths. So anyway, well pleased with that, and these are attractive blooms, very attractive blooms. Lovely colour, lovely greeny tinge to the centre, nice shape, bit of frilliness going on, and the show is just the sheer number of them this year. I mean, it's never bloomed as well as this before. Strangely enough, last year it got a first as well, but with nowhere near as many points. But it did take a first last year. Anyway, that was nice, and I'll get the video of the other people's plants with a bit of music, like I normally do, a bit later. And I'll see you tomorrow for the traditional Sunday morning chat, because we're all back to normal now, so I can actually do something in the grow room as a sort of proper chat this week. And I have a niggle in my mind. I might actually go for a live broadcast next Sunday. I haven't done one for a long time, and the last one I attempted was a miserable failure, but I've got the long days now, so I can do it at a sensible time. If I decide to, then obviously it'll be advertised, publicised, well in advance. But yeah, so next Sunday's Sunday morning chat might actually be a live broadcast, in which case it won't be Sunday morning, it'll be late afternoon, evening time, but it'll still be Sunday anyway. I'll let you know how I feel about that. It was good fun. The first one that worked well out here, it worked well. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and a lot of people did, so a lot of people joined in, so maybe we'll have a go at repeating that. I'll let you know anyway. So, yeah, thanks for dropping by. See you next time.